So we are 13 days away from the start of 49ers training camp. And as you know, I've been counting it down from 20. The other day we were at 15. Jawan Jennings is number 15, and it was his birthday. That was some perfect timing. Yesterday we were at 14. That's Sam Darnold's number. So we did a Sam Darnold film breakdown. Today is lucky number 13. That is Brock Purdy's number. 13 days away, Brock Purdy days away from 49ers training camp, so we can hit the hot topic of the week. And it is Brock Purdy and the 49ers performance against the Eagles, because there's this big war of words between 49ers fans and Eagles fans. Eagles talk radio media, 49ers talk radio media. It's a big mess. Well, why don't we get to the bottom of it? Why don't we uncover how Brock Purdy was playing before he got hurt, so we can gauge how Brock Purdy would have matched up against the Eagles? I bring this up because it looks like this rivalry is not going away, and they're going to be playing again in early December in Philadelphia in a rematch, so maybe Brock Purdy is going to have another shot at the Eagles. Without further ado, some film review. Now, as you all know, this probably won't be all too long because it's only 6 plays before Brock Purdy gets hurt. But right out of bed against the Eagles, remember, this is with Philadelphia already leading 7-0 because Kyle Shanahan, my biggest criticism of Kyle Shanahan in this game was he didn't throw the challenge flag on a play that he should have thrown the challenge flag on, and that gave the Eagles a 7-0 lead. The 49ers would have stopped Philadelphia on 4th down. So anyway, it's 7-0. I'm replaying this. First play of the game for the 49ers offense was a quick inbreaker to George Kittle, and this is a nice throw from Brock Purdy. Kittle's working against the linebacker. Kaiser White no longer with Philadelphia. That's a one-on-one matchup that the 49ers love. And Purdy, he's got to go with the quick release here, because right out of Jump Street, Mike McGlinchey is struggling against Hassan Reddick. Watch here on the left side of the screen, right above my face. Oh, we're going to fast forward a little bit. Let's go right here. Right above my face, you're going to see Hassan Reddick, 7, get past Mike McGlinchey. He's squeaking by Aaron Banks as well, squeaking by Spencer Burford as well. And he's already in Brock Purdy's face at the time of the throw. But George Kittle has got that short area quickness. Linebacker can't cover him, especially these Eagles linebackers last year. And Purdy got rid of the ball just as George Kittle was coming out of his break. Good arm angle from Brock Purdy, quick release, accurate throw, 9 yards on 1st down in the NFC Championship game. Moving on to play number 2. I included the running plays in here as well, or Mike did. Credit Mike for this. There is Christian McCaffrey stuffed. Good job here by C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who's also no longer with the Eagles. They've suffered some important losses. I'm going to pause it right here. Gardner-Johnson, top right of your screen, or the right side of your screen, not the top right. He's starting to sneak in here at the shotgun snap. Gardner-Johnson would have handled Deebo Samuel on a passing play, but this was a running play, and this is just good anticipation from number 23, Gardner-Johnson. He's able to get in a couple steps ahead of Deebo Samuel, who would have been asked to make a very difficult block. Watch 23. Samuel can't get there. 23, Gardner-Johnson is already in the backfield when Christian McCaffrey gets this football, and that play doesn't have a chance because of it. So no gain on 2nd down and 1. 49ers go back to the ground game on 3rd and short. They asked Trent Williams to take out his future teammate, Javon Hargrave. And, nobody really wins decisively here. It's a stalemate, but Williams does enough of a job. You can see on the right side of the screen against 97, who's now a 49er, Javon Hargrave. Trent Williams does a good enough job to get just enough push for Christian McCaffrey to pick up the 1st down. All right, we move forward now to Brock Purdy's 2nd throw of the afternoon, and this is going to be his final completion of the afternoon. Shotgun, 1 read, good read. Brandon Ayuk wins against James Bradbury, the cornerback that Deebo Samuel later called trash leading up to the Super Bowl. See it from the end zone angle. No issues with pass protection, no issues with the throw. That's well done. Sets up yards after the catch. What is that, 11, 12-yard gain for Brandon Ayuk. So the 49ers were having no trouble picking up first downs and moving the ball through the air here early against Philadelphia. You saw Hassan Reddick get some pressure on that first completion to Kittle, but Purdy's release was too quick, and the Philadelphia linebackers, as we had previewed in the week leading up to that game, were not able to cover George Kittle. 49ers exposed that weakness. And then Brock Purdy, against some softer coverage from James Bradberry, finds Brandon Ayuk for a big gain. 49ers run game wasn't faring great early on, but we expected them to pick it up over the course of this game. The Eagles had struggled a bit last year in run defense. First couple runs didn't net much of anything. This third run to Deebo Samuel, 49ers almost break a bigger one. You could see here that the 49ers are pulling Trent Williams ahead of this play, and Trent Williams just barely misses the cornerback Darius Slay. He's in front of Deebo Samuel. If Williams had taken out Slay here, I think Deebo Samuel had a chunk gain. But Williams just missed him right there. Slay sidesteps him. Good job for Darius Slay. Eagles managed to retain him this offseason, even though it was it seemed for a while that they wouldn't. But anyway, Darius Slay is a key retention for this team because of the plays that he can make both in coverage and against the run. You see Trent Williams flying there ahead of the play, doesn't quite take out Darius Slay. That allows C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the defensive back the Eagles no longer have, to make up some ground, get to Deebo Samuel, and he, along with Slay, make the tackle. That is a 4-yard game, though, so the 49ers started to do some positive stuff. It's just that it didn't turn into a bigger game because of the miss from Trent Williams. Watch Big Trent. He's on the right side of your screen. He's pulling. Oh, he just misses Darius Slay, and that allows the Eagles to stop that before a bigger gain. Too bad for the 49ers because that likely had a big domino effect, right? There's a lot of stuff that had a negative domino effect. Trent Williams hits that block. Maybe the 49ers run something different. Maybe the Eagles approach this upcoming fateful 2nd down and 6 differently. This is the play. This is the one where Brock Purdy gets hurt. See Hassan Reddick on the near side. You see Tyler Kroft, the tight end, getting ready to block him. There have been many debates about that. It's a totally fine play schematically from the 49ers. The Chiefs tried to block Hassan Reddick with tight ends several times in the Super Bowl 2 weeks later. It worked out fine for them. Tyler Kroft does slightly slow down Hassan Reddick. The 49ers are going to run play action there. He slows him down just a little bit. The fake handoff has been executed. Deebo Samuel moving in that orbit motion right now out to the flat. Take your eyes now to the right side of the screen where Brandon Ayuk is going to be working against James Bradberry. It's going to be a corner route, and Ayuk is going to be open. If this throw is delivered right now on time from Brock Purdy, it might be a touchdown. It will, for sure, if it's accurate, it'll be a big gainer, and Brock Purdy won't get hurt. Unfortunately, Brock Purdy held on to the ball a little bit too long, threw it now instead. The release wasn't quite quick enough, and you can see Bradberry's fallen down. Brandon Ayuk has him cooked, and because he waited a little bit too long, Hassan Reddick is able to get in there, knock the ball away. That ended up being ruled an interception, and Brock Purdy was hurt. So it was the fateful play indeed. We'll see it from the end zone angle. It's rookie inexperience. You would think that Brock Purdy, with more experience, will get rid of this football a tick quicker. Right now, Ayuk was already open, but instead takes him a little while to wind up, and we don't have to watch that one all too many times again. But we saw the 6 plays. We saw the 49ers move that ball with relative ease to the 50-yard line. The 2 throwing plays right before the fateful injury play where Hassan Reddick got to Brock Purdy holding the ball a little bit too long. The 2 plays right before that were easy completions for Purdy. That's what the 49ers were planning to do against the Eagles. They were confident in their game plan. They thought that George Kittle and company would beat the Eagles linebackers in coverage, and they didn't have a lot of respect for Philadelphia's cornerbacks, especially James Bradberry. When Deebo Samuel called Bradberry trash leading up to the Super Bowl, I think there was some frustration there that the 49ers couldn't capitalize on Bradberry working against Brandon Ayuk. There's going to be a rematch this year. We can hope that both teams are healthy so we can see exactly how this is going to play out with health on both sides. Obviously, the 49ers QB health was lacking in that game against the Eagles with Brock Purdy getting hurt very, very early on. Now, my theory on this game, and I've shared this take multiple times, is that when Kyle Shanahan failed to challenge the Devontae Smith catch on drive 1, the 49ers defense was gassed by that point. They could have gotten off the field without giving up a point. Instead, for whatever reason, Shanahan didn't even call timeout. The Eagles scored shortly thereafter. It was 7-0, and that put the 49ers right behind the 8-ball. Because the 49ers were behind the 8-ball, they're down 7-0. Hassan Reddick was able to take a big chance. Hassan Reddick is dead set on rushing the passer here. He does not respect the play fake. Any defensive lineman who respects the play fake on 2nd and 6 means they're going to slow down a little bit to make sure they're not getting burned by a handoff. But with a 7-0 lead, the Philadelphia Eagles decided to gamble. And I think they saw the 49ers moving the football with 2 quick passes earlier in this drive. So they said on the next play action, we're going to gamble. We're going to try to go for a turnover, a strip sack, an interception, or just a big sack. Try to hit the quarterback, because hitting the quarterback for a defense usually means good things for that defense. And Hassan Reddick took that bet. Look at him roaring in. He's not thinking about a run at all. He's just trying to run right by Tyler Kroft. And because Brock Purdy was a little bit slow in releasing that football, the Eagles get their kill shot. They knock out the quarterback. They get the interception. They run away with the football game. You can trace this all the way back to the 49ers not challenging the Devontae Smith play. This was a game that they couldn't afford to fall behind. The Eagles had 70 sacks last year. That was 2 off the NFL record. The 84 Bears had 72. A team that is that proficient rushing the passer, you want to stay ahead of them. You really, really want to stay ahead of them. You want to play downhill. You want to play 49ers football. It's harder to play downhill when Hassan Reddick has a 7-0 lead and he's rolling the dice, taking some chances, and obviously the rookie inexperience of Brock Purdy shown through. But despite that, we saw some good stuff from Purdy early in that game. You could see why the 49ers thought that they were going to have success downstream against the Eagles. And then you could also look at how good Brock Purdy was in a larger sample last year. He was really damn good. But we have to now discuss how the credit should be divided. So we're Brock Purdy days away from 49ers training camp, 13 days away from camp. How should the 49ers, how much of this efficiency that the 49ers saw this past season should they expect to carry over into 2023? As you can see, Purdy was essentially a replica, a clone of Jimmy Garoppolo as far as efficiency went last year. Equal in adjusted net yards per attempt, a little bit worse in DVOA, which is defense adjusted. EPA per game numbers are similar, actually better than Jimmy Garoppolo there. Success rates nearly identical. Completion percentage over expectation and turnover EPA per game also really, really similar. The fact that Purdy and Garoppolo were really similar, the fact that Purdy was able to nearly match his predecessor's efficiency is a really good thing, because Jimmy Garoppolo ran the offense very competently last year and Brock Purdy ran it competently as well. It's a good article from Rich Madrid today. He talked about the 49ers defense getting better at takeaways over the course of the year, nearly 2x the takeaway rate when Purdy was the quarterback. That helped the 49ers put up a few more points. But I think that the truth of Brock Purdy, because there's so many debates surrounding, well, is it Kyle Shanahan that should get the credit? Is it Christian McCaffrey that should get the credit? Or does Brock Purdy deserve some of the credit? It obviously goes everywhere because this is a team sport. But this graphic right here illustrates the situation really well. The x-axis shows percentage of throws to tight windows. Fewer percentage of throws to tight windows moving further to the right. So this is a little inverted in the x-axis. You're throwing in the tight windows more often if you are further to the left. The y-axis is percentage of throwing receivers open into tight windows. So as you can see, Brock Purdy is a wild outlier. He's not throwing the ball into tight windows all that often, which suggests that Kyle Shanahan and Christian McCaffrey and that 49ers offensive system is making for some easy passes for Brock Purdy into wide open spaces. But despite the fact that Purdy's only throwing into tight windows just over 10% of the time, whenever he does throw into tight windows, he is effectively throwing receivers open. Therefore, he is an outlier on this chart. So that means everybody deserves credit for Brock Purdy's performance last year, right? The 49ers and the excellent talent around him, Christian McCaffrey, who helped completely transformed this offense. I have an article coming out tomorrow morning about the spacing that Christian McCaffrey created. The entire apparatus set the table well for Brock Purdy. But in times when Brock Purdy needed to make something happen with tight windows out on the football field, he also excelled. So the 49ers were leading the NFL after Purdy took over at 35 points per game. And they did it because the play caller was doing a really good job. The playmakers, the skill positions were doing a really good job. The pass protection was doing a really good job. And Brock Purdy was executing all of that at a very high level. Everybody was doing a good job. That's how you score 35 points per game in the NFL. And that's why the 49ers were so confident entering this NFC Championship game against the good Eagles defense. And you saw a lot of that success carry over. That's a tight window from play one. Brock Purdy hitting George Kittle. I mean, you'll see. Watch this in full speed. I'm not going to stop it. Mike McGlinchey gets beat by Hassan Reddick. Reddick's in Purdy's face. That's a nice, quick, snappy release. And we saw it again with the throw to Brandon Ayuk just a couple plays later. We'll fast forward to it. Look at that. Nice zip release. 49ers were moving the football. An offense that was performing like this, you see where Purdy is on this chart, was translating it to the field against the Philadelphia Eagles. But then the domino effect happened, right? Hassan Reddick hurt Brock Purdy, and we have to wait until next season to see how this is going to go. But I guess I should say this season because we're only 13 days away from training camp. That is Brock Purdy days away from training camp because he wears the number 13. Anyway, wanted to talk a little bit about the favorite, the leader in the clubhouse to start for the 49ers. Obviously, there's the whole injury recovery wrinkle here. And it is not confirmed that Brock Purdy will be ready for week one. So at this point, we're just waiting and seeing as I move to our 49ers Q&A. How is everyone doing? The throw to Kittle was absolutely into a tight window. Let's go back and rewind this. Tight window means a defender is within a yard of that's what it's defined as. So a defender is within a yard of the receiver. I think that Kaiser White is within a yard of George Kittle. He makes the tackle as soon as Kittle catches the ball. We can measure it right here. End zone angle is going to be a little bit better. He's within a yard of George Kittle. He's Kittle catches the ball and he's already wrapped up. That is absolutely within a yard of George Kittle. That's a tight window throw. You know what else is a tight window on the play? Is the release point. Watch the release. I'm going to pause it right here. Hassan Reddick's got his hand up there. You have I think that's Fletcher Cox also converging on Brock Purdy. Actually, it might be Javon Hargrave, the current 49er. Either way, he's about to get sandwiched. Big 72 clog in the middle. That's not an easy throw to make as far as arm angle goes. You see quarterbacks struggle with the short game all the time. That's good execution in a hostile road environment in an NFC Championship game. You said the Eagles dominated the 49ers offensive line. Well, on that play, they won. But on the Ayuk completion, and I get it. We have a small sample size here. This is not a large sample size. But on this completion right here to Brandon Ayuk, it's only a 2-3 throw sample size until Purdy got hurt. This completion, the 49ers protection held up fine. We'll watch this rep from the end zone angle. We'll pause it at the time of release, which is right now. That's good protection. Hargrave neutralized by Aaron Banks. Trent Williams working over. I think that's against Reddick on the far side. You have McGlinchey doing his job. Fletcher Cox working against Spencer Burford. That's decent protection. It's really hard to fairly measure the protection once you move to Josh Johnson and then once you move to Christian McCaffrey at quarterback or Brock Purdy with a torn up elbow, unable to throw the football. So we'll re-gauge this next year because the 49ers pass protection was generally good over the course of the 2022 season. Gopher Broke says, the truth is that we'll never know how the game would have ended had Purdy played the entire game, but nevertheless, he still believes 49ers have a good chance of winning. And I think the first couple plays show you that they had a decent chance of winning. They would have had a much better chance of winning had Kyle Shanahan not dropped the ball with the Devontae Smith challenge. I think that was the single biggest swing in this football game. Again, it allowed Hassan Reddick to gamble. I don't think Hassan Reddick gambles against pass only if he doesn't have a 7-0 lead. It was a chain of events that really, really slid against the 49ers. Mike also points out that Purdy needed to step up. Yeah, and I think there's two ways to look at this play, the play that Purdy got hurt on. One is he needed to step up. Two is he just needed to get rid of the ball a little bit sooner. Look, Ayuk's break has happened. The ball should be coming out right now. In a timing-based offense, that football needs to be released at the, when an open receiver is coming out of a break. You already see James Bradbury stumbling. That being said, if he needs to buy more time, then Purdy can step up. That's the 49ers want more of that from him. They don't want him spinning away to the left. I mean, they would have rather had him spin away to the left and take that hit and throw that interception, courtesy of Hassan Reddick. But, still the ideal scenario here is to get rid of the ball sooner and to step up in the pocket. You want me to do a video on how well the 49ers defense played in this game? Well, they were gassed on that first possession, that's for sure. They obviously didn't get the break from Kyle Shanahan throwing the challenge flag. He didn't throw the challenge flag. But yeah, the 49ers defense held up, I think, decently well over the course of that first half. Kept the 49ers in the game, even though the offense couldn't move the football following the Purdy injury. Richard says, Purdy's a step up from Garoppolo mostly because of the latter's agility. Do I agree? Well, again, this is how they executed the offense. It was essentially even last year. I think that Purdy has more escapability than Garoppolo. He's more of a natural athlete. I think that Jimmy is obviously more experienced. The turnover rate was lower for Jimmy Garoppolo. That's why you see the DVOA a little bit higher for Jimmy Garoppolo last season. But all things considered, it is remarkable how even they were as far as efficiency. And it's not really fair to look at it in terms of points per game because, as I explained, Purdy got the benefit of more takeaways from the 49ers defense. That allowed the 49ers to rack up a few more points on that end. But the efficiency between these two was so damn similar, and that's a good thing. Jimmy Garoppolo was a good quarterback for the 49ers, so to be able to have a rookie, a seventh rounder, still under team control for 3 years contractually, making a cap number of like $864,000 this year in Brock Purdy, to have him be able to replicate Jimmy Garoppolo's numbers, which were top of the league, right near there after Christian McCaffrey took over, that's really, really good. Now, Garoppolo's numbers, if you include only the McCaffrey games, they're actually a little bit better than this, right? Because you take away some of the struggles early on when he was coming off the shoulder surgery against Denver. But I do agree with Richard here that Brock Purdy's got a little bit more athleticism. I think Garoppolo was better from the pocket. Garoppolo had a little bit more accuracy in some situations that allowed him to make up for the lower athleticism. Purdy obviously had more athleticism. Garoppolo played a little bit more within structure, but you would expect that because he was a veteran, right? Brock Purdy, meanwhile, was spinning out of structure a little bit too often for Kyle Shanahan's liking. That's something he's trying to fix moving forward. But at the end of the day, we are nitpicking here. The 49ers did have awesome efficiency from both of those quarterbacks last year. And you could see Trey Lance lagging behind, much smaller sample for Trey Lance. We'll see if in a larger sample, if he gets the chance, if he gets the opportunity, if he can close that gap. It's absolutely fair game to put this up for Trey Lance. It's not disrespectful hating. Trey Lance also had a dry quarter against the Seattle Seahawks where he made some plays, and that's included in this. Also, if you look at the completion percentage and the accuracy, it's obviously really bad for Trey Lance this year. It was also bad in 2021 where the sample didn't have weather issues. It was all, his accuracy was also questionable in training camp in both 2021 and 2022. So you see, and his success rate wasn't good in 2021 either, although he had some more explosiveness. So you're seeing familiar problems pop up in Lance's stat line from year to year. The one thing you could do is say that the sample size was small. That's what I'm saying. I think he get better. Listen, I recommended the 49ers draft Trey Lance in 2021. That was my recommendation. That was my prediction. I stand by it. I still think he has a lot of potential. But to bury our head in the sand and say that Trey Lance hasn't been categorically worse than the 49ers' other quarterbacks so far is not doing anybody any favors. We have to be honest about this, right? We have to be 100% honest, and we have to say Trey Lance is a tiny sample size so far, but it hasn't been great during that sample size. He has to get a whole lot better. That's completely fair to say. He's been outplayed so far. Brock Purdy's resume is a lot better so far. Has Brock Purdy had more opportunities? Sure. But he still has more on his resume, which is why he's the leader in the clubhouse. Go for broke, talking more about the NFC Championship game. As the game went on, the 49ers defense tried too hard to make plays and thus incurred a lot of penalties. Yeah, I mean, they were desperate. They're not going to win after they lose Brock Purdy. At a certain point, if you keep on pushing the edge, you find the edge. And they fell over the edge when it went to Josh Johnson. Then they started tumbling even faster after Josh Johnson got hurt. Trey Lance is a great opportunity to work and improve. Absolutely. And that's all that you can ask for if you're the 49ers and if you're Trey Lance. All right, everybody, thank you so much. We have Brock Purdy Day today, 13 days until 49ers training camp. Everybody like the video, sub to the channel. We'll talk to you next time.